Well, I'm sure she loves you back.
I thought you just wanted to sit.
She's used to using your energies.
Right, just going to do a quick demo for anybody who wants to watch this. So, this is second week of our project of moving towards abstraction. And I thought this week I'd introduce a slightly cubist looking exercise. So, the cat over it, have a example.
This one?
Oh yeah, so these are the just to show a couple of examples of Cubism. So that's that's more like the kind of classic Cubism that Picasso and Braque invented, and it's got a very fragmented look, but they were often based on portraits or still lives. And then after a little while, they developed this kind, which I think is what they call synthetic Cubism, which is a little bit more recognisable. The shapes are more recognisable. So this exercise I came across years and years ago in a drawing work, and to me it's like an approximation of Cubism. So it's a way you could get into that way of looking. The basic idea, I think, really is that rather than drawing something from a single viewpoint, using Renaissance perspective, we're looking at maybe multiple viewpoints. You may be looking a little bit from one side, a little bit from another side, maybe a little bit from above, from eye level. So it could be different points of view, and then coming up with an image that synthesises all that, and hopefully come up with a harmonious image. So this particular exercise, I've got some objects here if anybody else wanted to set one up. And what I've done is I've put this little setup here on the board so that we can rotate it. So we can draw a little bit and then move it around.
No.
Well, the idea is to rotate it still live. But somebody is a very slow drawer, so everybody rotates themselves this morning.
You can rotate as much as you want.
The idea is to get an effective looking still life. And I'll show you a few examples. So I've used this exercise a few times, particularly in my Rayleigh class, where they really liked it. So the first one was this one. These are all examples by one of my students from the Rayleigh class. This was back in 2011. So that's when I first had to go and set it all up. So that was that one. And then we also had another go a few years later, 2017. So that's the last time I've really kind of had a go at this exercise. But these are the sort of drawings or paintings you could come up with. You could use whichever mediums you want. So there's acrylic, pastel. This one's a watercolour version. These sort of things. It's quite effective if you don't have too many colours or too many tones. It's best perhaps pick a few, maybe 3 or 4 or 2 or 3. Otherwise it will start to fragment and it'll get a bit too chaotic. The other thing is to really kind of feel the page. So don't draw a tiny little still life in the middle, because you'll have a lot of space with nothing much happening. So if I'm just going to use the setup we've got, the idea is that the bottle, you perhaps just draw that one. So you find a tall object, like a bottle. So if you wanted to set up one of these, I've got some spare boards you could set one up on. You could even have a patterned background as well, which I haven't done with this one, but we've got some pattern papers. I've got actually a rug and a scarf over there. We could use those if we wanted to. So you would draw the bottle once, and I wouldn't be too precious about your drawing. Just get it as nice as you like to. And as I'm drawing from the side, I'm not sure how symmetrical that is. So that's that. I can then see that I've got a cup here. Actually, that comes a bit lower than I've drawn it, but I'll stop it there. And saucer, there. So So draw a few objects to start with. If you want to draw them all, that's fine. Or you could just start with a couple, and then we could rotate this.
I want to get some Valium recently.
I'm only kidding, I'm only kidding.
So this is nice. I've now got the bust looking straight towards me, and that's kind of overlapping the bottom a little bit. So that can go. I'm just kind of drawing from the top down. I'll just draw this really quickly. It's not going to be terribly accurate, but just give you an impression. So that could be there, and then we've got another bit there. I can see a little bit of the square bars here. And actually, creating a composition, a still life where you've got some sort of rounded shapes and some angular shapes can make quite an interesting setup. And just seeing what people did this morning, I actually personally prefer a combination of both. So if you needed to add more cups or boxes or anything else that you find in there, you can do that. The other thing with this vase, you could have it the other way up, have it more like a slightly pyramid type shape. I can't actually see the back of that, I'm sort of seeing to about there. I'll put the jug in here, which is somewhere there. I've actually got a bit of space here, so I can either crop the whole thing or maybe add some more still life objects in there. I'm seeing the jug a little bit like that. And the idea is just draw as much in as you want. And when you feel like you've got it cluttered enough, that will be the time to stop. And then once you've got to that, and you could do one or two of these, do a few line drawings if you want, and perhaps try some different setups. The thing next is to perhaps tone or colour some of the areas. And as I say, perhaps just keep it, in some ways, we were looking at these this morning, that one is a stronger image than that. It kind of stands out more, doesn't it? And that's just two colours, orange and blue. Whereas where she's I've put lots of different colours in there, it starts to get a little bit lost. So sometimes keeping it simple can work out. Just go for random peaks and purples. Let's go for that. Yeah, so just basically pick areas and just think, well, maybe a bit of pink here. Pastel's nice and quick, but it could be any medium really, watercolour. Could go for colours, that's a bit more complicated. Paint, acrylics would work nicely. I probably wouldn't use oils just because it's slow drying, but something that you can watercolour, anything to get some colour down. And then maybe just sort of work out different sections. I'll keep that section a little bit lighter, perhaps go a little bit darker here. So you come up with something that's more decorative, fluid, rhythmic. So it's a way of just getting into a sort of abstract-y way of working without just going at random with just abstract shape. So they're recognisable, but it also creates and it might be think, well, I've got some pinks here, maybe a bit of pink here might work nicely, either here or here. I'm thinking here. So you're really just responding to what you're starting to create. So we've got this setup here, which will rotate every however many you decide to rotate it. Plus, I've got a couple of these balls. We can set up another. If anybody would like to do this, we can set up another still life somewhere else. Or there's a bit of space.
Yeah, there's more space. There's more space.
People want to just sit at the end or something like that. Right. Any questions or any?
Well,
Great, okay, yeah.
quick question.
Yeah,
Just
sure, yeah.
deciding which bits to colour, which colours. So I was just looking at what you're doing
Yeah.
there, and you're saying it's kind of like finding your own random movement, but it's not necessarily to do with the darks and lights, or is it? Or are you still?
I suppose I'm just looking for a sort of balance, really.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm not really thought about it. I just thought I'll start it here,
Yeah.
perhaps a bit here, and then I thought, well, it needs some balance.
Yes,
Perhaps
yeah.
have that colour repeated. It's
Yeah.
a bit like rhythms, because you're repeating colours, repeating shapes. Perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
So it's that kind of composing, really, composing the shape. It's difficult to decide. You could, I suppose the other thing you could do is, it didn't occur to me to ask the question, but you could photograph it in stages and then see how it goes. Because there is the chance it will go horribly wrong.
Oh yeah. That's the stage
You
I'm
might
at.
come to, you might come to the stage where actually that was as good as it got, let it start.
So you have to take
It's
that
difficult to
risk.
judge that, you just got to try it.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, and the other thing is thinking about backgrounds. You could maybe, this would work with perhaps some stripes or some sort of pattern in the background. Take inspiration from some of these okay, helpful.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay,
Yeah.
if anybody wants any A3 paper, I've got paper,